Good morning, 8th grade students. We are going to simplify expressions with the distributive property on this day in August the 17th. The distributive property allows us to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses. Algebraically, we would say A times the sum of B and C is equal to A times B plus A times C. Over here, we have A times the difference of B and C. So that would be A times B, or AB, minus A times C, or AC. Be careful with your positive and negative signs when multiplying positives and negatives. So we've got a group of friends. They went to the movies. There were 3 guys who each bought 2 tickets. A popcorn. Each one of them bought a popcorn, and they each bought 2 drinks for themselves and their dates. So notice right here there's a 3, and we're going to multiply that 3 times the 1 popcorn that it tells us about, the 2 tickets per guy, and the 2 drinks per guy. So it could look something like this. 3, to start out, 3 times 1 popcorn plus 2 times T for tickets plus 2 times D for drinks. When we use that distributive property, we are multiplying the 3 by each term. So that's going to end up with 3 times P plus 3 times 2 times T, which is 6T, plus a 6D. Can we combine? We have to ask ourselves, can we combine any of these terms? No, we cannot combine the popcorn, the tickets, and the drinks. So our expression is simplified as much as possible. So let's go on and look, simplifying this expression. 4 is multiplied by 2, and 4 is multiplied by 3. 4 times 2x, if you want to write it out, plus 4 times 3. 4 times 2x is 8x, or 8 times x, and 4 times 3 is 12. Moving along, we have 4 times the difference of 2x and 3. So that will simplify. 4 times 2 is 8 times x, minus 4 times 3 is 12. Notice the difference here. We're accounting for the positive sign here and that negative sign there. Moving on here, I notice that my 4 is not positive the way it is here. That's a positive 4, and that's a positive 4. Here's a negative 4. It's being multiplied by a positive 2x, and a negative 4 is being multiplied by positive 3. So a negative times a positive will yield a negative. I'm going to put a plus sign right here. Negative 4 times positive 3, I can put this in parentheses, is negative 12. That's one way of writing it. The most simplified way of writing negative 8x plus negative 12 is 8x minus 12. Then finally, we have one more. We have negative 4 times 2x. Now, one thing we can do is we can make that subtraction, adding, a negative, so that when we distribute the negative 4 to the negative 3, that will change our sign. So negative 4 times positive 2x plus that negative 4 times that negative 3. See how everything's separated out? Then just simplify from there. This becomes negative 8x plus negative 4 times negative 3 yields a positive 12. Just wanted to focus on a few of these problems here with distributing. Let's take a look at number 8. Number 8. So we notice we don't have a whole number to distribute. We are distributing a fraction. That 1/2 to the 6m and that 1/2 to the 10. Well, this is a more familiar one. 1/2 times 6 times m. 6 times m, I'm going to put over 1 because anything, a number divided by 1 is still itself. Then I have that 1/2, and I'm going to make also this 10, that whole number, 10 divided by 1, or 10 over 1. That's going to help me simplify better. Then moving on from this next step, I have 1 times 6 times m, which is 6m divided by 2. Over here, I have 1 times 10, which is 10 divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. Simplify that one step further. 6 times m divided by 2. Well, m is going to stay in there no matter what. But 6 divided by 2 simplifies to 3. Then, finally, 10 divided by 2 simplifies to 5. Now we have our final simplification of this expression. Moving on to number 9. So we have 2/3 is being distributed to 3 times f, and 2/3 is being distributed to positive 12. Those are in parentheses. Notice over here we have this 1f by himself. This 2/3 will not be distributed there because distribution is multiplying. And we see that we have a positive sign in front of that 1f. So let's go ahead and get to work. 2/3, and again, I'm going to make my whole numbers. I'm going to divide them by 1 because any number or variable divided by 1 is still itself. 3 times f divided by 1 is still 3f. 12 divided by 1 is still 12. So 2/3 times 3 times f divided by 1 plus 2/3 times 12 divided by 1. And then I have another f over here. 1f or f, however you want to think about it. So let's go to simplify. 2 times 3, 6. 6 times f. Divided by 3 times 1. Next, we have 2 times 12. 2 12s are 24. Divided by 3. And then we have that 1f. So we can go one more step simplifying this. 6 divided by 3 will leave us with 2. Don't forget that f is still there. That does not simplify. 6 divided by 3 is 2 over 1. 2 divided by 1 is still 2. 24 divided by 3 is a positive 8. And then we have the 1f. So you can ask yourself, am I finished simplifying? Well, almost. One more step in here will take us to, we can use the commutative property with 8 and 1f. So that would become 2f plus 1f plus 8. 2f and 1f are like terms, so 3f plus 8. And there we have the final simplification for the given expression in number 9. Okay, let's take a look at number 10. Number 10, we see we have a fraction, 3/4. 3/4 of x, or 3/4 times x, plus 2, and then we have in parentheses 9 minus 1/4 x, or the difference of 9 and 1/4 x. Well, I have distribution not over here on the right side plus another term. I have this term, and then distribution of the 2 to the 9, and the 2 to the, remember, negative 1/4. I like to go ahead and make that plus a negative. So let's show our work. Come down here, bring the 3/4 x plus 2 times 9. Notice I'm not putting a 1 under those, but I could because 2 divided by 1 is 2, 9 divided by 1 is 9. Don't necessarily need to do that. Plus 2 times the negative 1/4 times x. All right, so here I could divide this 2 by 1 just to help me simplify this expression. I have 3/4 x plus 18 plus, now 2, and I see the negative 1. That's 2 times negative 1. So I'm going to put this in parentheses, a negative 2, and then in my denominator, 1 times 4, which is 4. And then I have this multiplication still by x, okay? Okay, moving along, I can simplify this a little bit more. I notice that I have negative 2/4. Well, the numerator and the denominator are both divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Therefore, would have 3/4 times x. And I'm going to go ahead and move this negative 1/2 x that I just simplified plus a negative 1/2 x plus 18. Oops, not going to let me write anymore. So finally, I would simplify this. Can I simplify 3/4 x minus 1/2 x? Yes, I can, actually. Maybe I wanted to leave that as 2/4 to illustrate this point better. 3 plus a negative 2 will give me 1. My denominator, when I add or subtract fractions, stays the same, and I have an x. So that's 1/4 x plus 18. Final, most simplified form of this expression. We're going to do number 12, and then I think we shall do number 13. So on number 12, I've got a 13 minus 0.25 times the sum of 4g and 6. Well, I want to think about this real quick before I start anything. This subtraction is the same as adding a negative. So think of this as 13 plus, putting this in parentheses, a negative 0.25. Then I've still got my parentheses of 4g and 6. So I need to distribute. Here I'm distributing the negative 0.25 to the 4 and the negative 0.25 to the 6. 13 plus, now another way I could look at this, when I think about equivalent expressions, negative 0.25 is the same as negative 1/4. Would negative 1/4 help me simplify here? Well, it just depends on whether you're allowed to use a calculator or not. Remember, on part of the TCAP, we're not allowed to use the calculator, so we have to be prepared for everything. So notice I changed the negative 0.25 to negative 1/4. I made 4 into 4 divided by 1, and I made 6 into 6 divided by 1. So now I'm going to distribute this way. It's going to look like 13 plus, I have negative 1 times 4, which is negative 4. 4 times 1, which is 4. They're still multiplied by g. Now, I also have to remember to take that negative 1/4 and multiply it by 6 divided by 1. Okay. So, simplifying, 13 plus this negative 4 divided by 4 times g. This simplifies or simplifies by division to negative 1 times g. Then finally, I have a negative 1 times 6, which is negative 6 divided by positive 4. Okay, I come up here. This is will be my final simplification almost, I think. So I will have 13 minus 1g. Now I can simplify 6 divided by 2. Both 6 and 4 are divisible by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that negative 6/4 becomes negative 3/2. Negative 3/2. Negative 3/2 is the same as negative 1/2. So I'm running out of room here, but 13 minus 1/2 will yield 11/2 minus 1g. There's the final simplification there. I also could have put this as negative 1g plus 11 1/2. Okay, to simplify the expression for the area of the rectangle, I've got to think about, what does area mean? What does it mean? Let's see if I can get, what does it mean? Area means, this isn't going to work the way I want it to. Text. Area means length times width. And that means I'm taking one side of a rectangle and I'm multiplying it by the other side of the rectangle to represent all this area inside this box. So 13.2 times, I want to make sure, because this side is given an expression with two terms, 3x and 2. So I've got to put this in the expression. So 13.2 times 3. 10.2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. 396, is that going to be my answer for that part of the expression? Nope, because I've got that one decimal place. So I'm going to come over one decimal place right there. So I really have 39.6 times x. I don't want to forget about that x. Then I've got to also distribute this 13.2 to the 2. 13.2 times 2. Some of you guys can do this in your head, and that's awesome. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. 264. Wait a minute. I need that decimal right there. Plus 26.4. So I know that you guys did this in 7th grade math with area, with expressions. So that is something that would look like. You don't have to have this multiplication sign, that 39.6 coefficient with the x next to it. You will not see that in algebra or really in 8th grade math. And there's your final answer. I will put the key for the rest of the problems if you want to give it another hand. I'd love for you to try to do some of this with a calculator and maybe some without. It's always great to practice those skills. So I will not continue with this right now. We will just wrap it up, but know that the whole key will be on Manage Back so that you can check all your answers. Thanks.